In this video, we're going to discuss a concept called scope. In JavaScript, scope refers to the context that some code is being executed in. So wherever we have some code, let's say it's inside of a function called say hello, that code is running in a specific context. And so it might have some variables, it might have some properties, and scope is referring to whichever variables and properties are visible in that function. And that could be different inside of another function. Or if we had functions nested inside of each other, which is something you can do, we might have different scopes and different variables are visible. So this will make sense with a few examples. This is definitely a notoriously difficult and complicated topic, but I'm going to try my best to simplify it for you. Let's start with something simple here. Declare a function, do math, and all that do math will do is declare a variable x equal to 40, and then it's going to console.log x. So let's run do math, and I get 40 printed out. So inside of this function, in this scope, we would call it, x is equal to 40. However, outside of the function, if I try and access x, what do you expect to happen? I get an error. It tells me x is not defined. So what this shows us is that we have two different scopes. Inside of this function is one context. X is defined in here. But outside of that, in what we would call the global scope, we're not inside any function. When I type x, I get an error because it doesn't know what x is. It's not visible in this scope. So if we do define x, var x equals, let's just call this hello. Now, if I access x when I'm outside of this function, just in the global scope, I get hello. So in this context, x is hello. But if I run do math again, what do you expect to happen this time? It's still 40 inside of this context. So that's really important. When we create a function, it has its own scope, its own set of variables. That doesn't mean, though, that inside of a function, we can't access variables that are defined outside of the function. So I'll show you an example. I'm going to clear everything here. And this time, let's use a variable y. Variable y is equal to 99. So in the global scope, I can access y. Now if I declare a function, let's call this do more math. If I want to console.log y, do you think we'll have an error, or will this work just fine? Let's try it. Do more math with parentheses, and it gives me 99. So what this shows us here is that when we define something outside of a function, we still have access to it inside of that function. Think of this as a child scope. This is more specific. It's drilling down into a deeper level, and child scopes have access to things defined in the parent scope. So if that analogy helps you, go ahead and run with it. But basically, to sum it up, if we define a variable outside a function, we can use it inside the function. But the opposite is not true. So here's another example. What if inside of do more math, I actually change the value of y? So I say y is equal to 100, and then I print y. What do you think happens in this case? Let's try. So let's look at what y is right now. It's 99. And if I do more math, it prints out 100. So inside the function, y is 100, and it printed out 100. But how about outside the function? What happens if I just type y? It's also 100. So what happened here is I declared y first as 99 outside the function in the global scope. And then inside the function, I changed y. So this didn't declare a new variable y in this scope. It actually found the old one that was declared up here, and it changed it. So in here, y is 100, and outside, y is also 100. So here's one more example. Let's clear all of this. Let's make a variable phrase equals hi there. And then let's make a function, do something. I know these names are not terribly creative. And inside of do something, I'm going to try changing, I'm going to make a new var phrase equals goodbye. And then on the next line, I'm going to print it. So what do you expect to happen here? If we run do something, it prints goodbye. So what that tells us is inside of do something, phrase is equal to goodbye. But outside of it, what is phrase equal to? It's still hi there. So by adding var here, var phrase equals goodbye, that makes us a new variable. Rather than using the one defined up here, it makes a new phrase variable that exists only in this scope. Only inside of do something is phrase goodbye. So inside, it's goodbye. Outside, we get hi there.